Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thrive in Education with Rachelle and Mel today. It's Monday. We just had a lovely weekend. Rachelle, how was your weekend?
Weekend was fantastic. I don't really remember much of it because it's just like evaporated. But I did watch a little bit of a TV show on, wait for it, Netflix. I know what you're
Oh
gonna
my
think.
gosh! What?
I know. I've never. I can't. I can no longer say I've never seen Netflix when anybody asks me because I watch Netflix. Yeah, but
Did you
I
watch The
don't
Social
have.
Dilemma?
No, but that is actually the reason that I got it because I was in a conversation with somebody and they mentioned it. And I forget who it was that I was talking to now because that was a couple of weeks ago. But then I just decided, well, you know what? I'll check it out for that reason. And then I saw The Blacklist and a couple other shows, but I'm only watching like one thing and
Did you watch The
not that much.
Blacklist? Okay.
I used to
Okay.
years ago, and
Oh,
then I
you
haven't
did?
watched it. Yeah, I haven't watched on from the very beginning. And I'm a James Spader fan. Like goes way back to when he was on. I can't even think of the name. Oh, Boston Legal. He was on for a
Okay.
while.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I liked the show The Blacklist, and I stopped watching it on TV when I stopped watching TV about 3 years ago. And so I was I know long time. So I've been watching
No,
that
it's like
and finished it.
it's hard. I was like, I've been obsessed with The Blacklist. I think Michael Horton told me to start watching it. And I'm not usually into The Blacklist or like that kind of show because it's too gory and I'm like way too
Yeah.
sensitive to see all of that. And so at first, I spent most of my time with my pillow over my head until the scenes would go where I'd fast forward. And now I'm just like completely desensitized. I don't even care. I'm just like, okay, it's not real. I keep telling myself. But
Yeah, you have
now that
to.
Tom Keene is dead, see, like this is the season where he
Wait,
died.
what?
Oh God, you didn't know that?
Oh,
It's hard for me to watch
kidding,
now because I
kidding.
loved.
But you know what? Somebody else who's out there, we might want to go back and edit this just in case they didn't get to that part
This
yet.
happened years ago. If they don't already know that,
I know. That was,
hey,
I
Hey
wasn't,
Julie.
hey, I wasn't convinced that he was gone. I was like, it's totally made up. There's no way. But no, I do
Right.
like it though. I like the writing. I think that's what interests me the most is the writing and the
Yes.
back and forth that, and plus I don't know, kind of the attorney in me likes shows more like
Yes.
it around that line. But I like there's humor in it. I mean, there's so much in it. I find it to be entertaining. So
I know. I love the
yeah.
writing, and that's why, like, I know. Dr. Joy texted me this weekend and she's like, Cobra Kai is going to be back on in January. And like, I wasn't a Karate Kid fan or anything, but the writing is so good. Just like in The Blacklist, the writing, because the way that you hate characters, like the way
Mhm.
they make you love characters or hate characters is like
Right.
fascinating that you can be your mind is so manipulated to like these people. And then like, even with The Blacklist, like when I don't know what's going to happen, like I usually ruin everything for everybody when I'm watching it. Cause I'm like, oh, I know the end. Like for some movies, I know the end when it's just 5 minutes into the movie. I'm like, well, and they're like, I hate watching movies with you. And we all have that friend. I am that friend.
Good to I got to write that down so I
Yeah,
remember.
whatever. You barely even watch TV. I can't
I
believe this is
know.
like news breaking. No wonder I didn't hear from you.
Well, I am watching it like really late at night because after my brain, I have just not been able to shut my brain off from work and all things school related. And so it's been even more difficult than normal to fall asleep. So now that's my thing is like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm watching a little bit of Netflix. So I did finish Blacklist and now I've been watching Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland,
Ooh.
which I was a
Oh.
fan of years ago, the show 24. I just liked
Mhm.
that show. And so I happened to find it. I'm like, okay, I'll try this one. But I'm not watching multiple shows, like one series. That's it.
I find that, and I would love anybody who's watching, tell us what you're watching on Netflix or TV or what has gotten your attention right now. We'd love to know. But here's the thing with Netflix. So, you know how we just got the Netflix when the pandemic started. Like I had not watched it for years. And or, I mean, just when we were at friend's house or stayed with friends or family or we're at the hotel or somewhere that had Netflix, the only time I ever watched it. And now you get to watch these series. But the thing about when these series are over, you feel like you lost another friend. Like like when Cobra Kai ended for me and when Stranger Things, I was like, what am I going to do with my life now? I just don't
Yeah.
know. It's so sad.
I know. Although the nice thing about Netflix, I mean, now that I could actually engage in a conversation about it, even though my experience is somewhat limited, is, well, one, for us, if you're trying to find a way to get away from just work and it's something you and
Yes.
your family can enjoy together, or if you and your friends are watching something, it's something to talk about besides school and whatever else. But I do like the fact that I don't have to wait another week for the next episode because they're already done. So I've got plenty of things. That's another one that's on my list. Some of those. Oh, New Girl was another one I used to watch. So
Oh yeah.
I don't
And
know. So,
I love Schitt's Creek so bad. Like I love that show. And I just last week or 2 weeks ago we watched the finale. That's another one that broke my heart. Emily in Paris is hysterical. Oh my gosh. I just watched a few episodes of that and it's hysterical. Or I don't know, I lose track of all the Netflix. But I'm with you, Rachelle. Like literally, if you have to like get your mind off stuff somehow, and Netflix is my drug of choice. I stopped drinking a lot of alcohol a few months ago.
oh jeez. And I'm laughing at you because I typed in typo error in our private chat. Sorry, those moments. I'm not sure. So I don't know enough about Netflix, but I think the thing behind it too is like
I thought it was Schlitz.
Yeah, I don't know. My students have been watching it for years. And I remember one time, probably, oh my gosh, I bet 5 years, probably maybe 4 years ago, I took a group of students to Harrisburg and to Hershey, PA, for different like ed tech conferences. And so we had a van or a school bus, and I was in the one time, the van, I was in the front seat with the driver, and behind me, it was rows of students, and they were watching Netflix, and I forget what the show was, but they had it so loud. And I said, can't you just put your earphones in? No, we're all watching this. Don't you want to watch it? And I'm like, no, I don't want to watch it. I have no desire to watch it, but never since then. And I hear people talking about it all the time, but just never thought anything about it. But what I see value in is like with the different shows, I mean, the writing. So and even like were we talking about YouTube too a couple weeks ago? Like my students were like, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber, or don't you know? And I feel a little bit more connected. I can have conversations now where I know, oh, well, Netflix, like this is what I'm watching. If they ask, I can't just say, I don't watch Netflix, because then they're like, what do you mean? You've never seen Netflix. So
every time you say I don't watch Netflix, it makes me laugh. I don't know why.
Yeah. So
I guess, but I'm glad. I'm proud of you. And you're right. It is another way. It is another way to like, connect with people. And it's kind of like our pop culture. So, and when you have older students, so it's definitely a good way to connect with them. But like you, I didn't used to watch a lot of TV. I listened to a lot of radio. But since the pandemic started, we don't go to the movies anymore. It's so sad to drive by the movie theater and it's black and closed. The Regal theaters are all going out. So, and it's something that, we had never had a television in our room since we've been married for 14 years. Mac and I have never, people have been telling us that we need to get a television in our room and stop having children. But we didn't listen to them until just recently. And we're so glad that we did, because now we don't have to watch Mickey Mouse all day or whatever. Thomas the Train, like whatever, or some, whatever. My kids love anime, so we watch a lot of that too.
Yeah, I love Mickey Mouse. I mean, maybe I should start watching Mickey Mouse.
I like Mickey Mouse too, but my God, you can only handle so many. Mickey Mouse and Paul Pals. Puppy Pals, whatever. Yes.
I have no idea.
Yeah. But okay, so tell us what you are watching. Thank you, Jillian, for telling us what you are watching. And so I put something up a little bit controversial today that our friend Dr. Dave Schmidu posted on Twitter. Did you see that? I
did. Actually, I saw his post on Twitter, his original tweet, and just in passing, I mean, I don't even know. And then I had seen the post on Facebook that I think that you shared in Alice's community, I think.
Right.
And there were a lot of comments there.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to read through all of them. And I can see, like, as with all things, I can see both sides, right? Because of the time period. But that's hard. So like if you assign a student to do a project, chances are you're not, especially if you have a lot of students. I mean, there are teachers that have hundreds of students. And so if you're assigning a project, I don't know how you could get them all graded and give the feedback within a 48-hour period of time.
So
Like,
for
it's
those
just
of you
not.
who might not have seen it, Dave posted this this morning. It was, if you, or maybe this afternoon your time, it was morning my time. It says, if you can't grade it and give feedback on it in 48 hours, then don't assign it. And I did post it. I just wanted to hear your thoughts. Some people are getting kind of cheeky and saying stuff, but I just totally be respectful, people. But yeah, so if you can't grade it and give feedback on it in 48 hours, then don't assign it. And it is kind of controversial because, like you said, people have hundreds of students. And even if you have 20 students, but you're teaching 5 subjects or whatever, like it gets really tough. And I just thought it was like, I can see both sides. I try to always give I try to give the feedback fast, but I don't know if I could do it in 48 hours all the time. And I'd love to hear anybody who's watching your thoughts on that too. We'd love to discuss it in a very respectful way. I get it that not everybody agrees. And sometimes we put these things out there that are kind of pie in the sky. We haven't reached that level yet, just because we're still doing school a lot of times as closely as we can how we've done it, because it's just how we've done it. Not to shame anybody. It's just that the way that we do things is the way that we do things. It takes a while to change,
Yeah, and whenever I reposition myself here in the big chair, like sliding down the big chair. But it's with feedback. I mean, I always love to be able to know right away. I want to know how they did. If it was a quiz, whatever it was, I wanted to see and be able to give them some feedback. And giving that, I mean, taking the time, if you're going to write the comments, give the grade and all of that, that takes a long time. But when it comes to projects, for me, I mean, I have 4 different levels of Spanish, or I have a STEAM course, and I would try to not give assessments on the same day. But there were times when that just happened like that. And then I'm like, great, I have 125 quizzes that I need to grade, or 125 projects that aren't just short projects. I mean, when I use Buncee, some of them I might say, okay, I just want 2 pages. And then I get 10 pages in this presentation, but that's how they decide to do it. And so it takes you time, especially if you really want to take a close look at it,
right,
and give the feedback. Now it's even more difficult depending on how your class. I mean, we're virtual, so I'm on the computer all day, and I really don't want my students to be on looking at the screen all day either. So I try to give them things that are in their hands, like the workbook or the textbook, but then all of the answers are out on the internet or there's translators. So it's all of it's difficult to try and navigate what's the best thing to do. And it's try and fail. And I don't know. So I'll be keeping track of comments on Dave's post there, and on yours actually too, Analogy.
I mean, I can see it. I can see that, like, the good stuff about it. Like, if you can't, like, if it's so time consuming that you can't get it yourself in 48 hours, like, I could see where it could be helpful. It's just that we're just not there, or a lot of us aren't there. Some people were like, yeah, this is how I do it, and I'm like, share your strategies, because I'm sure it would be helpful. And I don't really think he means 48 hours. Like, I don't think that, I know Dave, and while he puts that time there, I think that if it's just, the whole point of it is, like, if you can't get it quickly, kids forget about it, and it doesn't mean anything to them anymore, and I've had 5th graders that are just like, what is my grade? There are some students that want to, they just want to see what they got so bad. That grade is so important to them. They can't think about anything else. And there are high schoolers like that. There's kids at all levels. And, it's just, you have kids all on the spectrum. And sometimes if they don't get it quickly, the feedback quickly, then forget it. They're done with it. And then it's worth nothing. And then you have kids, like, they just want to see the grades, that is, if some people are like, well, that's feedback. Their grades are feedback, but that's a whole other discussion too, right?
I know. Yeah. And Dan Kreines and I talking about, we do the monthly podcast, and it's the Devil's Advocate, and we look at a topic and, the both sides of it. And we've been talking about testing and assessments and feedback and all of those things. But when it comes to feedback, I mean, you said it too, and I forget exactly how you said it, but if the students, for them to continue to make progress, they need it if they can't conjugate verbs today, like if I gave them a test or gave them an assessment, whatever, and I wait a week to tell them, well, whatever happened between now and a week from now, and they've been practicing it the wrong way, they're learning it that way. And so
it's true.
I mean, how do you do it? So if you give a big project or something, maybe what I tend to do is I flip through it, I scan. If it's a big test or whatever, I'll scan and see if certain things are kind of sticking out at me, like in common with all the students, and then kind of address them. Or if I see right away that a student like totally didn't understand word order, sentence structure, grammar, whatever, then I won't wait until I'm officially done. I mean, teachers, we can look at it. We can get an idea right away to be able to at least say something to students. So that part, yeah, I mean, feedback doesn't have to be, here's your test all graded and everything's packaged. Maybe it's just looking at it and that little snapshot to something to go on.
Yeah. Well, and he even said, like, I was following his tweets. He said, some of the feedback doesn't always have to be from the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of takes some stress off too, or just another way to look at it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I just thought it would be fun to talk about that controversial, shake up our Monday. Yeah. It's funny when things are so controversial, but what makes it controversial right now is just that a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed. And so when you put that out there, and I see that, I saw it in a lot of comments that I was reading in our Facebook community, and the Teacher Tech Facebook community, is just that, one more thing, to add on to that. And some people could view it as, well, this is something that could help lighten my load. So if it's not something I can turn around and give back, I shouldn't do it, which I can see that could help lighten the load. Others are like, don't give me one more thing. Like, I'm barely making, I'm barely making it out of the water right now. I'm drowning, Right. So yeah, but it's always good to think about it.
And there are so many, some of the tools, not that it's all about technology, but leveraging some of those. So because trying to figure out how to give an assessment online, especially when I'm teaching a language and you're battling all of those things, I've been using GoFormative even more this year because it scrambles the questions. I can see which question they're on. I can choose all kinds of question types, or, they can write, they can have short answer, they can record audio. Mm-hmm. And I see it happening, and I can give them the feedback right away. Some of it's auto grading, which is great, but then some of it I can see on the screen. It's pretty neat. So a couple of the teachers in my school started to use that. Nearpod is another one, or even just if you want a quick idea, using like the Kahoots and the Quizzes and the Quizlet, all of those. But
yeah, I love that. And speaking of Nearpod, my friend Mervin, our friend Mervin Jenkins was supposed to be on, so hopefully he'll be able to come. Mervin, where are you? I said, if you can just join us, because he's got like back-to-back meetings, but I was hoping that he could join us today. And he works with Nearpod and vocabulary, so it would be nice to hear his thoughts on it too. And he's an educator. And Jillian says, I am definitely using more EdTech tools for assessing. Yes.
And she is using Zigazoo as well.
That's right. I saw her tweet today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been
I would love to know how Zigazoo is going. That's something that I want to. And I saw you made a post about it.
Yes. Yeah. I did the one that was posted on Alice's blog a couple weeks ago. A new one
on your blog.
And then I did a new one. Yeah. Because they're having like a Halloween costume contest. And it's also the free, like, sign up before Halloween, actually. And she said, so fun. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun to have options. I mean, not that you have to do all the things, but having, like they say, your toolkit, what's in your toolkit, and having some to go on. But those are some of my favorites, especially when you see what people are doing. Huh? I'm
going to do Zigazoo this week. I'm going to try Zigazoo. Okay. Hold me accountable. On Thrive O'Clock on Friday, ask me if I did it, because I know my kids would love it.
Yeah, I think they would. I saw last week that your kids joined in Global Maker Day, and so have your kids do Zigazoo.
And today I was like, today's Maker Monday, because it's usually Math Monday, because we got to do themes, because I'm an elementary teacher, so it's like themes are the way to go. And I thought they would be so excited, but I think it's just because it's so snowy and cold here, and the sun is not rising. So if you don't know where I am, I'm located in Alaska. We're right outside of Anchorage, and it is snowy and cold. And I think the sunrise this morning was 9:12, which is hysterical because it's already 1:00 your time, and the sun isn't even up my time. So about next month, we'll only have like from 11 to 3, 11 to 4. It's just the days getting shorter. But it really, and that's why I thought it would be fun, like Maker Monday, and they're just like,
they're like, not having it.
Okay, fine, let's do workbook pages. Yay. I wouldn't even care if they just wanted to read. But I'm learning that, young people, my kids, maybe not all young people, but if I'm not there with them, like I'm busy doing stuff, working, if I'm not with them right there, they just don't care. I need to be there to facilitate it. So that's on me.
Yeah.
Not on them.
But I was going to say before you said that I always liked doing worksheets. I would be so excited when I would see it, when my teacher would pass out a worksheet or a handout, or it didn't matter. Like, oh,
I liked them
we
too.
have books, we have activities to do in the book. All right. And then I thought erroneously that my students would enjoy a workbook page. Like, all right. But no, not quite so much. Or conjugating verbs. Yes. Sign me up now. And I hated grammar in high school. Like I really, really hated it. But
I hate grammar too.
I love teaching grammar now. And my students, even today, like my Spanish 3 class, we're talking about in the past tense. And there's 2 past tenses. And the last 2 weeks, I've been telling them fairy tales. So Goldilocks, Cinderella, the 3 bears. Well, that's the same story, Goldilocks and 3 bears, because you can use those to learn these past tenses. And I said, I realize that I'm telling you these in English, but we see them in Spanish, but it's kind of fun. And I get all excited about like, look how these verbs work. And they're just like, that's great. Awesome. Yeah. Can we play Gimkit now? Yeah, we can play Gimkit now. And then did I tell you the day that we did the scavenger hunt and I pulled out like all of these old, toys and things, stuffed animals and blocks and whatever. And the other day I was looking in a bag of just stuff from when I was a kid. And I was so excited that I'm mad at myself at the same time, because in the bag I pulled out my Barbie and Ken dolls. And I thought, yes, I can use this for my Spanish 3 class tomorrow. And of course I forgot. So guess what I'm doing tomorrow?
Barbie and Ken. Nice. I want to be in your class. I love Barbie and Ken.
Oh, I never in a million years would I think that I'd be talking about Barbie and Ken in a Spanish 3 class or retelling stories, but it works. And so you connect. Hey, so she's gonna try Zigazoo. Very nice.
Yes. That's awesome, Andrea. I love Andrea. We need to have her and Jillian both. They need to be on our show.
Anytime. Bring them up now.
Yeah,
we're
like,
almost
girl,
done
ladies.
anyway.
Here, ladies, I'm going to.
Wait, why am I by myself? So Melody left and left me here all by myself. I think she just exited. So I'm not quite sure.
Invite button. I meant to click the invite button.
So I was just talking to myself. It kind of felt like my podcast where it's just me talking to myself and laughing at my own jokes, and then you were just gone. So
I'm so sorry. The buttons are close together. I hit leave the studio. I'm so sorry.
I didn't know whether to start telling a fairy tale about like there once the 3 little pigs. They went on. No.
So you know what, Jillian and Andrea, if you're out there, I just dropped the link. Please join us and come up on our show, be with us. And it's funny that you were talking about, just click on it. It's funny that you were talking about Barbie and Ken. My hair looks really strange on this side, and okay, there it goes. I had to fix that. I apologize. I was talking to my husband about, I used to play Barbies like crazy, but I also, when I was a young kid, and this explains why I love romance books, I watched all of the soap operas with my mom. One Life to Live. All my children loving. And I'm going to tell you something. My Barbie dolls acted out everything. Okay. Like, I thought that was all about life, So anyway, my Barbie dolls were R-rated, but I just
is this the episode that we're editing right now? Like cutting things out? Is this still the same?
I don't know how to do that. And this is live. Oh my gosh. And speaking of R-rated, so about 3 weeks ago, I got to interview one of my favorite, she actually is my favorite romance novelist. Her name is Jennifer Bernard. And I told her I wanted to be I wanted to read her next story before it came out because I love her series. It's The Lost Harbor. She contacted me today and I get to be a beta tester. I'm so excited. Oh, wow. And I was just thinking, man, I need a good book. I haven't read a good book in like 2 weeks. So, oh my gosh, awesome. Andrea's here.
Yay!
Hey, Andrea, how are you? I got to interview one of my favorite. She actually is my favorite romance novelist. Her name is Jennifer Bernard. And oh my God, where's that coming from? I wanted to read her stuff. Okay, that was freaky. Andrea, just turn off the sound of your computer. Is that for? Okay, try it again now, Andrea. Try to talk. Okay, now you're on mute. You're on mute. There you go. I'm unmuting you. Oh. Okay, it says your mic isn't connected, Andrea. Okay, now it is.
I had my Facebook still going, so that's why I'm like, where is all that coming from? Oh, it's me. All right.
No, that's fine. So tell everybody where you're coming in live from.
Coming in from snowy Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
I'm like, it's snowing in October. For
Wow,
the
what is
third year in a row, actually.
Oh, that's crazy.
It hasn't even happened, so that's kind of crazy.
Were the Chiefs? They weren't in Kansas City yesterday playing, were they?
No,
they were in Denver.
In Denver, but yeah, that snow came this way, so it's
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am
so
jealous.
cool. Well,
I like snow.
It's just going to be raining where Rachelle is. So
where are you
going? Snow Sisters.
I'm in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow! That's awesome.
So I'm like way across. I mean, way far from Melody. In between, you're like in between us. So yeah. The rain's coming.
Everybody who's watching, what's the weather like? Let's just talk about the weather. Why not? You know.
I was going to talk about football because you were talking about football, and I don't normally watch. The TV was on yesterday a little bit, so the Steelers were playing the Tennessee Titans.
They sure were.
I was conflicted, right? Because like, who do I cheer for? And they were both undefeated up until yesterday's game. I did happen to catch the last couple of minutes. So the Steelers won. Spoiler in case anybody didn't watch it yet. So
really good game.
Yeah.
Great game.
I didn't get to watch the Chiefs game. I just kept up with the score. But I mean, it looks like they crushed, Denver. So sorry about you, Broncos, like in a very sad way.
Yeah, it just wasn't fun. I just stopped watching it.
I know when there's no competition, I don't like to watch games.
Me either. It's just why? Waste of time.
And I saw, Andrea, that you actually read Martine Brown's book recently.
Yes, actually. I really like her book because it's so practical. It's just quick, practical. I mean, the first thing I read, I always start, and I'm kind of like as my kids read I don't know what they're called, the books from the back to the front. I do that too a lot. I start at the back. And the first thing I saw, the last thing she said was about feedback, making sure that you have some type of way to give, I'm like, as I was doing, because I'm trying to do 8 things at once. And I forgot to add that feedback thing on to, it's just so practical. Her, everything that she has in here is just practical. I love, what she said about.
Do you have the book near you?
Yeah, I do. Actually.
Show it.
Yeah.
I just saw her post and I meant to comment on it and share it, and I will. I still have time. There we go.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
She has this one part. Newsletters. She talks about newsletters and how they just, for lack of a better word, suck. Nobody's reading it. I mean, nobody's reading it. So why are we doing this? And so I got to go back to my team and say, I don't know if we should keep wasting our time, putting so much time into that. Because really, I'm wondering how many people are actually looking at it. So
is there a way to track it to see? Because I think there are some people that like newsletter. I got to give a shout out to Nicole Taylor. She puts on an excellent newsletter. I love Alice Keeler's newsletter, but I help her with it. So I like her newsletter too.
So we track. What are you using to create them?
Well, I know she does Send Owl, and I don't know what Nicole uses, but one of the things I love about Nicole's newsletter is that you just open it and there's something that you can put into practice immediately, and it's very short and sweet, and I like that. You don't get buried in stuff. And then if you look at Alice's her newsletters, she's got thousands of people that subscribe, but they voluntarily subscribe, so they want to get that newsletter. So even if not all the thousands of people actually read it, hundreds of people still do. And when you're trying to get information out there, it's still useful to hundreds of people. But you're right. I mean, I'm guilty of unsubscribing. Like when I see newsletters that are just really, really wordy, or they're all about one person, it's not really something that I want to,
Well, we're struggling with, we have it, we send it out to all of our teachers in our district. So we're using Outlook, and we want it to actually be right there. We don't want them to have to click on anything. Just as soon as they open the email, everything is there. And so we struggle with formatting and all that, because we don't want anybody to actually click on links. We just want to, because I know as busy as I am, I'm not going to click on it. I'm just going to keep going if I don't just see it already open.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that will at least cut down, if they can see it and go, oh, wow. Oh, that's something I might want to know. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would just, you probably already know this, of course, just the most important thing that you really want them to see on the top. And that might be the only thing they see.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we're doing that. It's just, I don't know. I'm just rambling.
No, I think it's great. It's what did you say earlier, Rachelle? It's like you're learning, you're failing, and you know.
Yeah.
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 It's all right.
Yeah.
Do you put out a newsletter, Rachelle?
No. No. And I mean, there's so many things, like how much can one person do? And but you're right. I mean, there are some that I get and I read, and they're like digestible, and it's not like they have all the content all right within there. It's a headline, or it's like the headline and a tiny blurb that if you want to go and link, it takes you to that site. But there are some that I get that come up, 2-3 times a day sometimes. And and some I just delete right away. And it's not that I want to totally unsubscribe. It's just at that point in time, in amongst the other 300 emails that I've gotten, some days I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. But I will say one of the learning communities for ISTE, the global PLN, I think, is the one that puts it out, and they use S'more, and it's kind of chunked together. And then, I mean, I use Buncee for pretty much everything. And I know there are some schools that have been using Buncee to create, because the way that it sends the email out and how it opens up, and it's just very visually engaging. You can have different forms of like audio and video or links or whatever in it, so that it might be just one page, but it has all of these little, whatever, you have a link, or if you have somebody talking about something, so they don't actually have to read it, for example. But yeah, there's a lot of newsletters out there that come out, and time right now, not a lot of people have a lot of extra time.
Right.
And some Facebook user, I'm sorry, track it with Bitly. I love Bitly. Yeah, I mean, that's one way definitely to do. Yeah. But I mean, and talk about feedback and newsletters. I mean, you can ask, your teachers, your colleagues, and just say, what do you like? Do you like this? Is it useful? Because then you'll know, if a lot of them, if it's worth it to you to do it. If a couple of hundred are like, yeah, but there thousands of others are like, no. But I mean, 200 teachers is still 200 teachers, right? So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's cool that you guys are like, I love your team. Rachelle, did you probably, because Rachelle watches everything I do, which is so supportive, and I love her for it. Did you watch the interview that I had with Andrea and her team?
When was it?
It was like a month ago, like early in October.
Yeah,
or
I didn't
September.
I don't think I saw the whole thing, because was it in the evening?
No, it was in evening your time probably.
Yeah, because I think I was taking my walk then, and I tuned in. It had already started, because I do remember listening to part of it, and I'll have to go back and see. I try not to miss any of yours, but you're
such a faithful friend.
I know.
You're so amazing.
Awesome.
You're awesome.
Well, the other day, Melody, I was like, how are you texting me when you're live right now? And you're like, I'm not live.
I wasn't live.
Behind.
But I want to brag on Andrea's team. If I could find my YouTube, I'll drop it in the comments later. But yeah, they're in the Kansas City Public Schools, right? I said it right. And what?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. And her team, they're relatively new, but what I love about them is not only are they intentional about everything that they put to their teachers, they're very intentional about how they formed their team. And I guess it resonates with me because, like, all of you, we all know what it's like to work in a very toxic environment with people that we don't necessarily gel with. And sometimes we never find that connection piece with them. And so something of their story that really just like, I just amazed me is that they intentionally found a way to like each other. And I thought that was so cool. And then they use that intentionality to help the teachers that they serve. They're in a district. They're in a really large district, actually. They're Kansas City. And so they help their teachers be prepared, to teach online before the pandemic hit. Like, it wasn't something that they really had in mind that there was going to be a pandemic. But I just thought that was a really cool story. Just to brag on Andrea and her Kansas City digital learning team.
try to take it in and not try to say anything because I am horrible at going, oh, you know. I got to be able to say, oh, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys
Yeah,
are you guys are badass. Sorry, I just said it, but I said it.
Oh, wow. That's serious.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get Rachelle mad at me. I'm sorry. Is that okay? Yeah. Well,
No,
we
we're
have
good.
gone over time and it's been fun. And I'm so glad you joined us today. Are there any last words that you guys want to send everybody off with today?
Join in the formative chat tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, talking about, I got to think what we're talking about this week because I always get them lined up. I know we're talking about we're talking about assessments, feedback, assessing and remote learning is coming up too. That's for next week. So if anybody's looking for a chat, by all means, join in. Yeah, tonight is
formative chat.
Yeah, tonight is all about feedback. So speaking of Dave and what he posted, then.
Hello. Yeah. Very good. Andrew, what about you?
Drink wine. That's all I got. I know. It's just been.
Could that be?
Yeah.
Could those coincide maybe so that
they really could. I mean,
like at 7:30 p.m.
everybody
join the chat.
Yeah. I like that.
I think it's great. I think it's a great combination. And more power to you if you can drink some wine and join in #formative chat, 7:30 Eastern. Follow the hashtag if it's your first time. I saw one of our friends explain to another person, and I retweeted it from her THRIVEinEDU. So if it's your first time, this is a great chat to join. And have some wine so you don't feel so nervous. And
there we go.
We'll see you all at Thrive O'Clock on Friday. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.